Welcome to the Health Coach Nation podcast. My name is Hailey Rowe, and I'm a sales and marketing coach and LinkedIn lead generation service provider. I work with health, life, and mindset coaches and online service-based business owners to help them get more sales, shift their time to the client-generating activities instead of just the busy work, and overcome that social media overwhelm. Let's get into the show. If you've been working at your coaching business for a while, you might have found out by now that it's not as easy as you thought to get clients. If that is you, I want to invite you to check out my free workshop sharing how to go from crickets to clients, creating a freebie funnel formula. So in the series, I share with you how to make a freebie that people actually want, that they actually opt into, so that you can grow your email list, so that you always have an audience to share your offers with. And you always have an audience where they are being nurtured by you, they're moving through the sales cycle, and you're not stuck every time you have a launch feeling like you have zero eyeballs on your content. So if that has been you, if you've been stuck in that and you know you need a bigger audience, you know you need to nurture your audience, go to haileyrowe.com/live event, all one word, to get the free series and get started.
Hi everyone, it's Jessica from Hailey's team. Today's episode is a replay from a talk Hailey did for an AI online summit. If you'd like to see the slides Hailey references during this talk, you can watch the full video on her YouTube channel, youtube.com/HaileyRowe, or go to the show notes page at haileyrowe.com/partnerships. If you'd like an even deeper dive on how to apply the steps Hailey shares in this episode, you get full access to all her collaboration pitch templates and resources in the Work Smart Marketing Club. Visit haileyrowe.com/worksmart for details.
So today we're going to be talking about how you can attract ideal clients and do that through collaborations and partnerships, and how you can go from crickets to clients, because many of you probably are dealing with posting on social media and trying to do different marketing things, but you find yourself feeling stuck and not getting a response and not leading to clients. So we're going to dig in today. And what we're going to go through is why collaborations and partnerships work. So how you can use strategic partnerships to attract clients. We're going to go through the most effective ways to collaborate. We're going to go through the 7 steps to market using collaborations, and then we're going to go through AI tips to help with your collaboration marketing and to streamline it, since this event is all about dominating your lead gen and your business and incorporating some AI. So as Zena said, I am a marketing and sales coach and strategist. I work primarily with online entrepreneurs, coaches, and wellness professionals, and I help with simplifying client attraction, getting more of your time back by not overthinking or doing all the things that we call busy work in entrepreneurship, and helping you make more income and impact doing what you love. So if you do want to stay connected after this, I'm on Instagram at Hailey_Rowe. I have the Health Coach Nation podcast as well, which is business tips for coaches. And I've been doing this since 2017. And before that, I worked in business development and marketing for startups. So it's a fun journey, and I'm happy to still be here. And I'm happy to be back at this summit. And before we get into the training, one of the things I'm going to share with you today as a big, very important part of your collaboration marketing is having a lead magnet or having a freebie you can give to people. So if you don't have that yet, or you're going to want to make one, you can go to haileyrowe.com/live event and get my free whole series about how to create a freebie that people actually want and how to turn it into a funnel that drives more sales, because part of collaborating is having really good assets to share. And if you don't have the assets, then it's going to be hard to make the collaboration work. So let's get into the training, which is collaborations and partnerships and using that for client attraction. So let's talk about first, why do collaborations and partnerships actually work? Well, the first thing is it positions you as an expert. So when you get in front of somebody else's audience and their audience already has trust with that person who you're partnered with. You get to come in as an expert and you have a better opportunity to get instant credibility, meaning they've already, done like introduced you as an expert. And so people believe that you're more of an expert than if they just saw your Facebook ad or they just saw you on their Instagram feed or something like that. It also helps you build trust quickly because you are leveraging that trust that your partner has already built with their audience. And it's a one-to-many marketing strategy, meaning you can get a lot more done when you're speaking in front of several people at once, or being on a podcast with thousands of listeners and doing collaborations rather than just one-to-one having a conversation with somebody at your local coffee shop or at a networking event. So the reason why I like collaborations and partnerships is because you can get in front of a lot of people very quickly and efficiently and establish value by giving a training or giving something to their audience. So a couple other reasons for collaborations is it can build your email list. If you are trying to grow your email list, posting about it can help, but really what's going to grow it a lot faster is if you are sharing your freebie with a large group of people who, based on who you're partnering with and what kind of partnership you're doing for their audience. Also, it allows you to expand your audience and it gives win-win value, meaning you are helping your partner look good by bringing value to their audience, and you're getting the opportunity to speak for them and get in front of new people. So let's talk about what are the ways you could collaborate, because so many people just think, oh, the only type of collaboration is a podcast interview. But really, there's so many different options, and we can really get creative. And we can even determine your partnership strategies based on your strengths and where you're starting from and all of that kind of stuff. So the first type of collaboration would be an affiliate or referral partnership. So what that means is you partner with somebody who maybe has a audience that you're trying to get in front of that's similar to your niche, and they are going to refer you to their clients when their clients need whatever service you offer, and vice versa. And that person who refers you is going to get a maybe commission or a flat rate if someone that they refer to you ends up signing up for your service. So the way the referral partnership works is you have to establish your commission or flat rate that you're going to offer to your partners if they refer someone to you who ends up signing up for your service. You also can, if you're going to do a referral partnership or an affiliate partnership, one thing that people don't think about a lot of times is, that they just have a flat commission or a flat rate and that's it. But you could actually decide, I'm going to have a referral partnership, and each season or each month, the incentive that I offer my partners is going to change. And I'm going to make it time sensitive so that you're getting more referrals by adding additional incentives for your partners to refer you at different times of the year. So for example, you could say for Black Friday, hey partners, I have a new thing coming out for Black Friday. And when you promote it to your audience, if they sign up, you would get XYZ commission, but you'll also get free services, or you'll also get XYZ. And one good practice to get into if you're trying to start leveraging affiliate or referral partnerships is to ask the question, do you know anybody who? So if you have partners who are going to be promoting for you or helping you out, it's a good idea when you have networking calls and when you're trying to figure out what kind of collaboration makes sense with somebody to just ask, hey, do you have people in your network who might need XYZ? This is what I do, and I have an affiliate partnership, and maybe that would make sense. So you want to think about who complements what you do and shares a similar audience, but doesn't do the exact same service as you. And one great way to partner to grow your audience would be an affiliate or referral partnership. Another option is to take guest trainings on the road, meaning Maybe you've given a talk to your audience before, you've done a free webinar, you've done a workshop, you've led a local workshop, and you have these pre-made talks. And if you don't have a pre-made talk, that's totally fine. But could you create some kind of training that you could bring to somebody else's offerings, somebody else's group program, if they have guest speakers in their group program, somebody else's Facebook group, if they interview people in their Facebook group or are open to that, somebody's membership, if they have bonus calls or, feature different guest experts, somebody's mastermind, or if they don't have any of that and they just offer services one-on-one, maybe they have an email list and they'd be willing to let you do a guest training for their email list or co-host some kind of webinar for their email list. So the reason why we like guest trainings as a good collaboration method is it can grow your email list, because when you give a guest training at the end, you can kind of share, hey, here's how to stay in touch with me, and here's my free gift for everybody who observed this training. It's my free blah, blah, blah class. And you can share your lead magnet and where people can find it. Now, the other thing that you can do is what we call swaps. So you can have a social media live swap with somebody. So maybe they don't have a podcast or they don't want to have you for a guest training, but maybe they have an Instagram account and they would be open to doing an Instagram live interview on each other's on their page, interviewing you, and vice versa. You could interview them on your Instagram and they could be featured on your Instagram. So you could do a social media live swap. You could do a podcast swap if you guys both have podcasts. You could do a content swap where maybe you don't do a live interview, but maybe you actually write up a post that someone else can share with their audience that's talking about your lead magnet or freebie or program or whatever it is that you're trying to promote. And they would tag you and you'd get a shout out that way, and vice versa. You could do the same for them. Now, one of the questions I get a lot is, okay, but what if they have a podcast and I want to be on their podcast, but I don't have a podcast, so I can't offer a swap? Well, what you do is you offer what would be beneficial for them, for your audience. So it doesn't have to be a, hey, we're both doing a podcast swap. It could be, I'm going to be on your podcast and you're going to be on my Instagram live as a guest. Or, I'm going to give you a content shout out with a post you want to write up for me. And I will share it with my audience, and then vice versa. You'll be on their podcast. So it doesn't have to be the exact same swap both ways. It just is something that you want to be win-win for both parties. So you want to have something you could offer them in return for them featuring you on your podcast. And do you always need that? No, sometimes you'll just be interviewed on podcasts because you pitched yourself to a podcast and they said yes, and that's great. But I do want to encourage you to try to think about how can you support your partners as well, because they're going to be more motivated to help you get more reach if you're also, helping them and providing them value. And another question I get about swaps is people say, well, I don't have a big audience, so my partner, isn't going to get a huge amount of reach. But what you can do if that's the case is, maybe they're going to feature you on one of their channels and you're going to feature them on all of your channels. If you, add up all of your social media audience, it adds up compared to just your very small Instagram audience. Or you can think of other ways you could provide them value. So maybe you can't provide them value in that you don't have a big audience, but maybe you can offer to make promo content for the podcast you do on their show. Maybe you can make it easier for them by offering to, plan whatever it is you guys are doing for your promo, and you're going to make all the materials and you're going to write up the emails or something like that. So just think about, how can I make this partnership beneficial for my partner, and how can I make it easy and a win-win for both of us. And then another option for collaborations would be like a local workshop or an Ask an Expert day in your community. So this is like, if you want to do collabs not online and you actually want to go out in your community and stand out, you could offer to a local business, hey, not sure if, let's say you're, let me see what in the chat. Has anybody mentioned what they do? Can anybody mention in the chat what kind of work you do? If you're a coach, if you're a course creator, whatever type of work you do, that'd be great because I can give an example. But just off the top of my head, if you're like a health coach and there's a chiropractor in your community, you could go to that chiropractor and say, hey, we're both in wellness. We both help our audience in different ways. Would you be open to us hosting a workshop together, about XYZ? And or would you be open to me hosting a workshop for your clientele about a certain angle of health? And I can tie in too how chiropractic will help them with that too. Um, and or you could say I could come in and be an Ask an Expert day and offer free consults for the day for your clientele. And you can mention your referral partnership. You could say, hey, and if your clients sign up for something, I'm happy to offer you a referral commission or however you do your referral partnership. So this is a good one if you're tired of online and you want to get out in your community, because face-to-face stuff sometimes can even work faster than online. Okay, now let's talk about how do you start doing these collabs. Let's say you're interested, you're wanting to use this to grow your audience, and you are excited. If that's the case, let's go through the steps. So step one to get started with collaboration marketing is to make a list of potential partners. So this is where you're going to think about, okay, what do I do? And then who are people who complement what I do? Meaning, people who are interested in health coaching might also be interested in yoga. They might also be interested in chiropractic help. They might also be interested in acupuncture because if they're into holistic stuff, they're probably into other modalities as well. So your list might be a list of local yoga studio owners, might be a podcast about yoga, might be a podcast about holistic wellness and biohacking, things like that. So research podcast hosts, Facebook groups, local business owners, and online business owners who share a similar audience to you and complement what you do. And for the online business owners, it's a good idea to look into, do they have a group program where maybe they take guest speakers? Do they host summits? Do they have maybe an email list? Like kind of look into what kind of things are they doing to determine what kind of collaboration might make the most sense, right? So make a list of those people. And when you're searching, try to check if you guys have services, values, and the type of audience that aligns. So don't collaborate with somebody who, let's say you're a Christian coach, you're probably not going to collaborate with like an atheist podcast host, right? So make sure your values align, make sure your audience aligns. And also, or like, for example, if you're a menopause coach, you're probably going to collaborate a lot with women owned businesses or people who cater to women, and that's their dominant audience, right? So check the values, services, and audience, and does that align? Check what kind of offerings the person might have. Like, again, if they have a membership, you can come in with the idea to collaborate by doing a guest talk for their members or things like that. And then also check what platforms are they on, because if you're going to collaborate, you want to be collaborating on the platform they're most active on, most likely, rather than picking a platform where they're not really that active. So when I say platform too, I just mean like Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok. What social media platform are they really crushing it on? Now, some other tips is to ask your social media network. If you're strapped for ideas, you're struggling, you could do a post on social media and say, hey friends, I'm looking to collaborate with these kinds of people. Does anybody know someone within that, category? I would love to bring value to their audience, or I would love to do a win-win collab with them, or I just love to network with them. Another thing you could do is post in referral and entrepreneur Facebook groups. So if you, there are actual like podcast guest collaboration Facebook groups. If you just search that, you'll find it. And people will post, hey, I'm looking for guests for my podcast. Here's what it's about. Same thing with entrepreneurial networking groups on Facebook. You can find a bunch of those. And those might be good groups to go in and say what kind of collaborations you're looking for. Another thing you can do is Google search programs within your niche. So you could do a search about masterminds that would cater to your niche, courses that would cater to your niche, things like that, and see what comes up. Obviously, you'd have to make sure it complements what you do and it's not, you both have masterminds for the same exact niche and on the same exact, it's helping with the same problem or issue. Another thing you could do is attend networking groups online or locally. There's ways you could meet people that way and ask if they know anybody who are the kind of people you're looking for. And then the last thing would be Instagram keyword search, meaning on Instagram, there's a search bar. You can click on it and there's a search bar where you can type words in. So you could put in there things like, menopause, podcast host, or you could put in whatever niche you work with, buzzwords that would be potential partner accounts. Find those accounts. And one cool thing about Instagram is when you follow a certain person, it will say, hey, here's some other suggested accounts that are similar to this person. And you can find more partners that way. So when you follow somebody who you may want to collaborate with, it will give you more people to follow similar to that, which is really helpful. So step one, you're going to kind of brainstorm your list of potential partners. Now, step two is you're going to decide what is going to be your collaboration approach with the person who you're reaching out to. So let's say you reach out to them and you say, hey, I noticed we both work with XYZ audience. I love the kind of work you're doing because XYZ. Would you be open to exploring a collab? And then you could either have a collab chat where you go through the different collab options, or you could send in the message, perhaps we could do a podcast swap because we both have podcasts, or perhaps we could explore a referral partnership and see what else might make sense. But the next step is to try to get that conversation to connect with them. And one thing too that you're going to have to do potentially is before someone responds to you, you may need to build some rapport first, right? So if you have somebody, like if you guys have a mutual connection in common, like let's say you want to be on a certain podcast and your friend was on it, it's even better if you can get a warm introduction to that person from that friend, or you could tag the person's podcast and shout them out on social media and give them some love. Or you could engage with their content so that they recognize your face when you reach out to them. Or you can follow and connect with them on social media a little bit. But it is a good idea to build a little bit of rapport before making a collab ask. However, is it required? No. I have people all the time who pitch me to have them on my podcast, and I still have them on sometimes if I think they're a good guest and a good fit, even if I've never heard of them before. So is it a deal breaker if you don't do this step? No, but it's always nice if you can build a little bit of rapport. And then step 4 is make the ask. Are they open to collaborating? So you've thought about what kind of collab do I want to pitch? I've connected with them in some way. Maybe they've seen my face before. And now you want to make the ask. So this is a template you can use or adapt to your own language. But it basically says, hi name, hope you're having a great week. My name is blank. I'm a whatever your title is. Looks like our services complement each other and we both share a mission for whatever it is you share a mission for. Would you be open to exploring a collaboration or referral opportunities? Perhaps we could talk more about, and then whatever your preferred collaboration method would be. And then you could say, would you be available to connect for a quick collab call this week? Please send me your availability, or you could give them your calendar link or however you want to do it. And then thank you for your time and consideration. So we make the ask. A lot of the time they'll say, yeah, for sure. And one thing I just want to give you guys a heads up about is if you're afraid of making the ask because you think someone's out of your league, or it's scary and they might say no, you might be surprised how many times they say yes. And you might be surprised, like obviously I don't think, if you have 2 followers that you should pitch yourself to Oprah Winfrey, but I do think that there's somebody who has a big audience within your niche. If you can bring value to their audience and you have value to share, I think that it is worth the ask, because I've always been surprised when I've tried big opportunities like that. And a lot of times one leads to another. And when you start to get bigger and bigger opportunities, it gets easier and easier to keep getting big opportunities. So make the ask anyways, put yourself out there. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So you should try to take the shot because you may be surprised what happens. And step 5 is you have the collab chat, and now you're going to actually plan the collab. So this is what you would need to figure out. You need to discuss what you guys both do, where you guys mostly promote, where you're most active on social media, what kind of collab method would make the most sense based on both of your audiences. Is it going to be a swap? Is it going to be a referral partnership? What are you guys going to do? And then you plan the details, meaning you set the date for that guest training for their audience, or you set the date for the podcast. You determine what assets you guys need. So if you guys are going to co-host a workshop, we're going to need to probably make some emails for our audience. So who's writing those? What are we doing for that? Agreement terms. If you are having an affiliate partnership, obviously you'll need an agreement form for that, things like that. So, and it could be, just a side note, you don't need fancy tech tools to get started with collabs. In the beginning, it could be as simple as if you make an email intro to me for a service and they sign up, you get your referral commission. So it doesn't have to be, I need to go set up a whole affiliate system and have special links. Eventually, you may want to do that, but in the beginning, it can be very old-fashioned. And then step 6 would be to prepare your assets. So you've decided what assets you need, and now you're going to make them. So if you're writing a guest newsletter for your audience, you need to write that up. If you're being on their podcast, you probably have to send them your headshot, your bio, the topic ideas, whatever links you want them to share in the show notes, things like that. So this is the point where you're just preparing your assets. And pro tip, make sure that if you make assets once, like you write out your bio and all your social media links for show notes, put that in a document, have it handy now for any time you're on podcasts, and you can just copy and paste it each time. And then step 7 is to execute and review, which is where we're going to actually decide which collabs should we do more of and which should we do less of based on the data, based on the results of it, so that you can actually keep making your marketing more and more efficient and make the best out of your time. So, for example, you're going to want to look back and see what collaborations for you this year or this quarter or this month have worked best. Meaning, did you get a lead from a podcast you were on? Or did you get a lead when somebody shouted you out in their Instagram stories? Try to figure out which kind of collab is jiving the best and or which audience is responding the best. The other thing you're going to want to do is identify the best partners. So is there a certain type of partner that you tend to work best with and that goes really well for you? So for example, I partner with a lot of web designers because I do marketing and sales coaching and helping with the copy for their website, and they do the website design. And so we're a great type of partner. It's gone well in the past because our clients need both of us, right? So that's when I do more of. Another example would be to check the stats. So when you're evaluating, check if I did an email swap with somebody on this date, did I get new email subscribers? Did it work, right? And if not, we either need to work on our copy for our email, or that might not have been the best partnership, or we may need to make some tweaks there. So do look at the data, do kind of reflect back, and then do more of the partnerships that work the best. And then a couple just bonus tips, AI tips for your collaboration marketing. Couple things. Number 1, when you are researching what kind of partners might be best for you, it's a great idea to use AI to help you come up with ideas. So I use ChatGPT, but you can use Claude AI or whatever you like and feed this information into ChatGPT to get ideas. So you could say, hey, my niche is blank. The services I offer are blank. My brand values are blank. I want to collaborate through these methods, podcasts, Instagram, live swaps, whatever it is. Some ideas for potential partners are, and you can even give it a starting point. Like you could say, I'm a health coach and I think I'd work well with chiropractors or massage therapists or whatever. And then you could say, what other ideas do you have for collab partner job titles? And it will give you a full list. Now, the other thing you can do is use AI for your collaboration assets. So if you are making a post for someone else's audience you can feed into ChatGPT. Here's the audience I'm trying to speak to. Here's the partner I'm partnering with. Here's kind of their website and what their audience is interested in. Here's a freebie I'm sharing for their audience. Can you help me write a post about my lead magnet that caters to their audience and what their audience wants, right? And obviously this prompt here you could take a screenshot of, and it's worded slightly different than what I just said, but the point is you can feed that in to ChatGPT, get some ideas. And just to kind of recap, the partnerships and collabs that you do, this is something that you can keep doing. It's scalable. I have done the same guest talk like several, like the 4 steps of client attraction talk that I have. I've done it probably 500 times for 500 different audiences. And so it's scalable. It's something I take with me to many different events, and it keeps giving value. So it's very time efficient. It helps you get in front of many people at once. You can expand your network through partnerships. You can build trust faster through partnerships. You can develop a sustainable way to grow your business. And the key takeaways here for your next steps, and then we'll go to questions, is to start with the strategy. So remember, brainstorm what kind of collabs am I most interested in? Who would be the best collab partners for me? And then you're going to start building relationships with your collab partners, building up your network, going to networking events or connecting with those partners through outreach or however you're going to do it. Then we're going to determine what's our win-win for this partnership. How are you going to communicate that to your partner? Are you guys going to have a call and discuss the plan? What are you guys going to do to take the next steps? And then you execute and you do the partnership and you start to evaluate which partnerships go the best and which you should make more time for, and vice, which ones should you let go of, and that kind of thing. So that is what we're doing. So here's just a little visual. Make your list of potential collab partners, decide your collab approach, build that rapport, ask to collaborate, plan the collab, and just a couple final things. Before the collaboration, again, if you don't have a lead magnet or freebie yet, it's kind of important to have something that can help you grow your email list and that you could offer to somebody's audience so that you can keep nurturing the leads and you have a place to send them. Because if they just follow you on social media, that's one thing, but they're probably going to forget about you. But if they're on your email list, they're going to remember you more. So having a lead magnet you can offer where in exchange for their email, they get something, that is pretty important to have. So again, you can go to haileyrowe.com/live event if you need to figure out what that is and set up an email funnel. Have an email funnel if you can, meaning when people do get on your list and in your audience, they're getting follow-ups from you. Prepare any promotional assets before your collabs. Test all your links and systems before the collab, meaning if you're going to be on a podcast and you're going to share a link, make sure it works, check it. And then after the collab, I really think it's important to send a thank you note or thank you message. Be sure to share the content that you did as the collab widely. So if you were on somebody's podcast, share it with your audience and take clips and use it and repurpose it. Also, nurture the new leads as soon as you can. So if you get new leads from an event and they loved it, be sure to respond to their messages. Be sure to, share your freebie with them, that kind of thing. And then look back at the results after the collab. So if you, again, want that freebie that I mentioned, the From Crickets to Clients, the freebie funnel formula to convert more sales, it's at haileyrowe.com/live event, all one word. And now what we will do is we will go to questions. I'm going to go to the chat.
Love it. Thank you, Hailey. Can you go back to the prompt one because you shared it real fast and Gina couldn't take a screenshot of it. Do you mind?
Sure. Was it
Got you, Gina.
I got to remember which prompt one. I think it was the one.
The partnership one, I believe.
Sure. Yep. Oh, here it is. Okay.
All right, Gina, you got this?
I'm just trying to go to full screen for you. Can you see that?
Yep.
And of course you can customize this to your own voice, but it does give you a bit of a clear idea of what you would say.
Awesome. So good. So, oh, what's your contact info? Lisa's asking. All right.
Yes.
Welcome, Gina. You're welcome.
So I'm at HaileyRowe.com. I have I'll put that in the chat. I'm at Instagram at Hailey_Rowe. All the things.
Yeah, Haley's amazing. And a question about Karamek. I was asking because she sells a product, not a service. So I'm curious what your suggestion is, Haley, if you're applying this to sell a actual product versus
Yeah.
service.
So one thing you could do if you have an actual product, you could do influencer, like you could share your product with partners who you'd want to give a review or a shout out to their social media audience. We call that kind of like influencer marketing. And that would be a great way to collaborate with other creators online and get your product in front of more people. The other thing you could do is do like a free sample type of thing for certain audiences. Like, let's say, you know how when you do a charity walk or something, sometimes there's a goodie bag and there's free product samples or things related to whatever the charity walk was about, like,
Yeah.
or events when you go to a conference, you get a goodie bag and there's sponsors and there's people who are in there. You could do that.
Mm,
But you could, if you don't want to give away project products, you could do just the same thing, be on podcast talking about your product. Write, a post for a partner that they could share a coupon code with their audience, or they could share, you could still have a lead magnet too, by the way. Even if you're a product, if you have something that could help people opt into your email list, maybe if it's footwear, maybe you have a related, like a guide about how to style, like what shoes to wear with what types of outfits, and that's your lead magnet.
yeah.
And people could promote that to their audience, and you could grow your email list that way. So
So good.
similar concepts. It just is more, you have actually more opportunities if you have a product to actually give the product
Yeah.
to people.
It looks a little different. And in Karamek, what I'm thinking for you is probably collaborate with high-end apparel places because those would be really great because usually, and I don't know if you're targeting men or women, but usually like shoes fit with clothes
Mm-hmm.
situation, right? So start thinking about, you can even use ChatGPT to ask you, to ask it and say, hey, I sell high-end footwear. Who would be great collaborators, businesses that I can connect with and create a partnership with to expand my business, and it'll give you some great ideas. You could start there too. Okay,
Totally.
got it, Carmen?
One other thing too, this is just a really funny story. A long time ago, I dated a guy who wanted to pair up with a very important partner. It was like somebody who, if he got this partnership, his business would explode. And so he sent, and I'm just saying this because it's footwear, he sent one pair of the shoe, not both, not two shoes, just one, to the partner in the mail, and said, if you want the other one, call me. Here's how to call it. So you can get creative, but it worked. He did get in touch with the person. So, and
That's
he didn't even have a
awesome.
shoe brand. He just gave her a nice pair of shoes, but
I
that's
lo-
that's
That's so creative. So
yeah.
good. I love that.
Thanks so much for listening to this podcast, and if it's really helpful for you, I'd really appreciate if you share it and or leave a written podcast review. This tells the podcast sites that our show is useful and it will be promoted to more people that way. Thanks again.